Sorry, you caught me. You know, today is All Saints Day. There's an alternative reading for All Saints Day, and I want to read it to you. It's from First John. See what love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God, for that's what we are. The reason the world does not know us is it did not know him. Beloved, we are children now, and what we will be has not yet been revealed. What we do know is this: when he is revealed, we'll be like him. We will see him as he is. And all who have this hope in him purify themselves just as he is pure. You know, when we're doing our social media, one of the things happens is what we're trying in this world, whether it's on social media or not. I want you to see me as this. In other words, I'm playing to a larger crowd. I want you to see me as this. But for a Christian, for a saint, we turn it around and say, I want you to see Christ as this in me. You see, each one of us has inherently in us the image of God, the Imago Dei. And it's formed in a couple of ways. We get it at birth. We all have variety. God loves variety, and that's why we as Christians should love variety and not look for everything to be the same and uniform and say this one's better than that one. So there's a part of us when we're born. But then there's part of us for Christians when we're reborn, or when we're baptized, or when we first recognize Christ in our life and we give ourselves over. And that's maybe the gifts of new creation. So we have a gift of creation, born, in the new creation, baptism, and then we have one of a life lived, especially those hard points. If we look back, and I think the Bible does a lot of this, if we look back, we see how God was alive in those situations we thought were hopeless. And yet we often don't draw on them. And so all of those make us up for who we are. And yet we spend so many days trying to let the world see us as something we're not. And the thing is, we die inside. We ultimately wind up having spent too much money, drank too much booze, taken too much drugs, had too many divorces. Most of those come from the fact that we are unwilling to let the Christ that's in us, that's resident in all of us, every single one of us, to get out. That's what renews the world. You know, God says, look, the world's not finished, but I'm handing it over to you to finish it. You'll use my power. You'll use my gifts, but I'm using you to do it. But what happens is, kind of like a sink that gets stopped up, we stop it up by wanting people to see, well, I'm conservative, I'm progressive, I'm whatever. And there's nothing wrong with those being modifiers, because all of us has a different bent. But we often take it as our primary identity. And what the world needs right now, 2020, you know, I mean, I've only lived 70 years, so I'm sure there's worse years, but this one's pretty bad. What the world needs right now is for you and for me to be us, the God-given us, and let that shine, rather than being a bunch of posers, because posers bring evil into the world. Posers bring death into the world. Posers bring pain and heartbreak into the world. So when we're talking about saints on All Saints Day, we're talking about people who basically became transparent. They didn't become something else. God didn't manipulate them and make them weird. Well, some of them were weird, and some of us are weird for that matter. But no, what they said is, I want my God-given self to shine through. So here's my hope for you, and actually my hope for me on this All Saint. You are a child of God because you were born by God. You were born, you are no mistake. You were made to exist for a reason. And the reason is to be yourself, your God-given self, with the gifts and talents that you've got, with the gifts you were given, the personality of Christ that you were given. And for those difficult times you went through, where God got you through, and you found you had reserves and power you didn't know you had because you didn't have them. They were from God. God says, be transparent right now. If 2020 needs anything, it is more Christians that pose less and are more transparent. And I wish that for you. I wish transparency. And I want you to know that you are a child of God and you are loved beyond your imagination. And the world needs you right now. I hope you have